Victoria and Penn, congratulations on the season 3. You is one of my favorite series of all time, and I cannot wait for fans to see season 3. I binged all 10 episodes, so I can't wait for fans to see it, first of all.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Lauren.
we can't either.
Yeah. So a huge part of season 3 is honestly just seeing Love and Joe become parents. And both of you have so many scenes where you are acting with babies. And I'm curious what the challenges are and the unpredictability, but also what fun things happen from acting with a baby. Penn, I want to begin with you first.
Well, practically it can be a challenge because the baby is not going to do what the scene calls for necessarily. But it's refreshing because it's like the most real and present thing in the room is the baby. It's this person who's like, I think there were a few scenes where I had to be emotional and look into the baby's eyes and that was great because the baby's like super present, like there's no falseness there. And there's other times where like the baby's crying and it just feels terrible,
I really love that answer. Victoria, for you, you've had to, kind of mother this baby for so many scenes. Do you get attached to the babies during filming? Is it hard to give them back to the parents? Because you've been after you film. Say that again.
What about you, Penn? Can you give them back or you try to take them with you?
Yeah, sometimes I'm just like, this is my child. Sorry. My personal feeling is like we don't get to spend enough time with the real baby. We have these dolls, these horrific looking, expensive prosthetic dolls.
Terrifying.
So disturbing. And we act with those most of the time. So frankly, you don't really spend, there's some decent laws in place to keep us from spending that much time with the children.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. You guys were great with the babies. It was so sweet. I love, Victoria, you've now played Love for 20 episodes and Penn, you've played Joe for 30 episodes. That's a long time to be spending with a character. And I know that these characters are in menacing, very heightened situations, but in the end, they're still human beings. So Victoria, after you play someone like Love for 20 episodes, what do you learn from Love and how do you relate to her character in that way?
I mean, I think just playing a character for 2 years, something like that, that just you learn a lot in that period of time. I learned a lot from not only playing the character, but from going to work every day and learning new things about how television is made, and what everybody's doing around me. And it's just a great opportunity to be able to work on set and learn about film from all these people that, generally speaking, have been doing it quite a while longer than me. So I feel like that's what I've learned the most. I don't feel like I've necessarily learned much from Love beyond just this exploration of obsession in relation to how media so often portrays love has really brought to my attention that I have no interest in obsessing over others or being obsessed over, even though I think throughout my life that may not have necessarily been true, just because that's how we're kind of programmed to love each other. I find that obsession, flattens people and takes away from the fullness and complexity of their humanity. And I think that people deserve a lot more than that. And I think I deserve more than that.
I appreciate that answer. Yeah, no, I really think that's a beautiful answer. Penn, they're wrapping me. I love your narration in this. Really quick, do you do narration before you film an episode, or you do that first?
Yeah, first. And they're very different. Frankly, I don't even intellectualize the connection between them. I just do one, I do the other, and it just works.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's what Sera was saying as well. Well, I appreciate you both so much. I can't wait for fans to see season 3. Thank you both so much for your time. That ending, I'm still like, what's going to happen next?
I know, me too.
I know, yeah.
Thank you both so much. Shalita and Travis, congratulations on season 3. Sherry and Clay were so much fun to watch. This was one of my favorite series, and you guys were honestly so much fun this season. I have to know if both of you had a chemistry reading prior to filming. Shalita, I want to begin with you.
No, we didn't. And you know what? It's one of my favorite things that people talk about, the chemistry between Sherry and Carrie. I mean, I think that for me, creating chemistry is really just about finding the things that I love about the character and what my character would love, and then just really milking that.
Yeah, Travis, for you, so it's crazy you guys didn't have a chemistry read.
We did, yeah. When the writing's great as well, it really lends itself to having a good relationship. And you also, it's easy to have chemistry with Shalita. You know, she's just such a full person that she made it very easy for me to have that chemistry, and it just worked right out of the gate.
Did the two of you have conversations? I mean, maybe you did in the writer's room or with the writers, but I'm curious if the two of you had conversations on their backstory. And I know we see where their current situation is, how they got there later in this show, but I'm curious if the two of you, what type of backstory you built for the characters. Shalita, I'll begin with you.
No, I don't remember any conversations about the backstory. It was more about, who these people are in Madre Linda, and like being the queen of a community and like having things to protect. So I didn't really think too much about like pre-Joe and Love. It was really just creating a fullness in the present with what we were working with.
Yeah, no, I love that. Travis, for you, like, what do you hope that audiences can take away from season 3 specifically without having to get into too many spoilers?
Well, I think they're going to take away what they took away from season 1 and 2, is that they love the show. It's such a wild ride, and you can never really expect what's going to happen on the show. And I would say season 3 has more twists and turns than any of the other seasons. So for me, it's just what the audience expects to happen. It's not usually what's going to happen. And I loved being a part of that storytelling.
Without giving anything too crazy away, there's a moment where both of your characters have to endure a little bit of claustrophobia, and I'm very claustrophobic, and I'm wondering if that is something during filming. Did you have to overcome any, because the show is kind of scary in parts, and I'm wondering if you had to overcome any of your own personal fears while you were filming. Shalita, I'll begin with you.
Yeah, I don't really enjoy being too close and like having things like too close. So yeah, I do remember rehearsals having to really like dial in that, this is what it is, and I'm gonna have to like get over it. And I think I did for the most part, but yeah, it's still not my favorite thing.
100%. Travis, what about for you?
When it gets, I guess I don't know how to say what we're supposed. I know I'm not supposed to say a couple things, but I will say that yes, I definitely have issues with claustrophobia, and I don't like being in confined spaces. But because of the situation we found ourselves in, it was actually so exciting. So to me, none of that stuff came up. I didn't have to get over any fears, and I think it was just really easy to throw yourself into that situation because, the setting was just so iconic.
I think that is the perfect tease for fans this season. So I'm going to end on that. I can't wait for fans to see what you guys are bringing to the show this season when it comes to Netflix in a couple of weeks. Thank you both so much for your time today.
Thank you, Lauren. Have a great day.
Thank you both. Bye. Sera, congratulations on season 3. You is one of my favorite series of all time. So this is an honor to chat with you today. I watched all of season 3 and absolutely loved it. So I cannot wait for fans to see this new season.
Thank you. We're very, very excited to finally have it coming out into the world.
What was it like? I'm sure you're getting this question a lot today, but honestly, I just want to know what it was like to dive back into season 3 during the COVID and during the pandemic and all the challenges you had to endure with that.
That is a conversation that we could have for about 3 hours. Hilariously, we opened the writer's room for the new season in February of 2020. So it was just before it all hit in March. There was a morning I remember where we couldn't concentrate. All we could talk about was the news. And that's when we all knew that something strange was coming our way. It was, logistically stressful. We want to keep our crew and our cast and everybody safe. But it also, I think, was incredibly grounding. I think we were really fortunate to have something like this to work on. It's like really fun. It's a form of escapism. I really hope that the audience now is going to have the same experience we did, where it kind of took us away from our problems for a few hours every day.
Oh, 100%. Like you said, I think I saw an interview with you where you're like reading this book is like a good binge. And I'm like, yes, watching season 3 is like, was so much fun for me. What do you hope that audiences personally take away from season 3 without getting into too many spoilers? And I know you've talked about working with Caroline before and meeting her, but what were your conversations like specifically with her for this new season?
It's interesting because she was writing the next book as we were making the season, so it wasn't ready in time. So we knew that we were diverging into parallel universes, her book and the show. But she and I had some great conversations about just Joe Goldberg's evolution and what it would do to a character like that to have a child, considering how intensely screwed up his own childhood was. So yeah, in terms of what we want people to take away from it, well, first and foremost, I just want people to really enjoy it and have a great time and like scream at their TVs a little bit. But starting with my conversations with Caroline, we've always been having this conversation about masculinity in our culture and how toxic it can be and just how gender roles are, not what they should be. So if you feel like you want to have a conversation about that with a friend after watching it, I think that's great.
Yeah, no, I think that the show always like strikes up so many conversations with how many people have binged this series. Last question for you. I love Penn in this role. I think he's a phenomenal actor, and I love the narration that he does for each and every episode. This is now 30 episodes where he's had to narrate. I was wondering if you could talk about the production behind his narration. Does he do it prior to filming that episode? Does he do it afterward? Is there a schedule for doing that? Does that make sense?
I'm sure if you ask Penn, he would tell you it feels like we chase him around all day, every day, asking him to record like just a little bit more of the narration. That. He frequently does record it before he shoots the scene. And that's because the editors need a version of it to work from. And surprisingly, a lot of the time we keep that version. He's always had like an amazing sixth sense for the pace. I mean, let's be honest, the show wouldn't work at all if his voiceover wasn't amazing. So I feel like he just has his own magic way with that.
Yes, no, I love that answer. I was honestly curious if he did it on set or had to do it in post-production. So I'll definitely be asking him about that when I chat with him. Sera, this was an honor. Thank you so much. I can't wait for fans to see you season 3 when it's out in a couple of weeks. I appreciate your time so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.